All right, y'all. Well, I guess we got more news when it comes to the Vshojo situation, where I guess this is more like past news than anything, because I guess Shylily is exposing now kind of how what happened when I guess they tried to recruit her into Vshojo. So this ought to be good. As a VTuber myself, I've never really been into the big corporal spaces, so I'm assuming I'm probably gonna end up learning a lot more about how these contracts and stuff work. Because I haven't really heard a lot of good things about some of the contracts. Though I haven't really heard much at all as far as contracts go when it comes to these VTuber agencies. But um, yeah, no, I'd have to say that yeah, Vshojo though they're fucking cooked. Like if we're being real, they're fucking cooked. $500 million, $500,000 that they owe to a to not to an agency, to a charity, and then apparently they haven't been paying their talent for like 6 months straight, and they still haven't paid them yet, so they're pretty much cooked there. That's basically embezzlement. But yeah, no, V Shoujo's cooked, and once again, I said it before. I've said it before, but I think that this is going to be the end of the whole VTuber agency thing, bro. It's going to take a while for them to get their names out the mud after this, because Hololive and Niji Sanji already had a big stain on how people viewed them, and V Shoujo is like the last beacon of hope. And now we got V Shoujo just fucking up big time here, not paying people, stealing money from charities, all sorts of stuff. So yeah, yeah. It's a lot going on here, but apparently Shylily has some insight on at least the contract that she got, because who knows how the other contracts for other VTubers were when it came to this. And one thing you gotta know legally is that when it comes to contracts, everybody's contract, no matter what you're getting, it's gonna be different, bro. Not everybody's contract is gonna be the same. It could be similar, and you can kind of use it as a reference to what they might offer and what they might not offer, but that's all you can go with. But let's go ahead and get into it.
They're willing to commit to. That level of sacrifice was not something I was willing to commit to at all whatsoever. But everyone's different, bro. Everyone's fucking different. If they... So let me go into more detail and explain what the frick is going on. When they reached out, I was very, very, very particular about what I want and what I have to offer and my worth. And when they reached out, the person who reached out, bless them, they are an absolute sweetheart. An absolute sweetheart. They promised the fucking world. They had this big ass, long ass meeting and promised the world. Like this, they had this like massive PowerPoint. Hold up. I can't check how long, but it's very long. We had this super long call. It doesn't say how long, but we had this super massive long call of like everything they offer, which was all the way from legal advice, shows. It was just a whole lot of stuff.
Now, before we get into this, because she's probably about to list a lot of stuff, because these VTuber agencies, I will say, if they actually commit to their contract, if they commit to the contract and the stuff that they say, they can offer a lot. Once again, one of the big things of why people joined these agencies is because, once again, let's reflect back. They give instant audience. They give a lot of resources, whether it be for advertisements, mental health, helping with editing, videos, stuff, a lot of stuff. They help out with a lot of stuff to make it easier for you to be able to just hop on stream and actually entertain and make them money and whatnot. And on top of that, you get a piece of it too. So they do offer a lot. It's one of the big reasons why people join these agencies in the first place. Plus, you get to be a VTuber, which is what a lot of people dream of doing. Especially now, VTubing is huge. It's blown up compared to how it was back in probably like the early 2000s, like 2017, 2019 ish, even before then. So it's blown up like a lot compared to. So it's a lot. It's hell. I would say it's arguably a lot easier right now to be an independent VTuber than to be a corporal, especially with all these corporals screwing over their people right now. But like one of the big reasons why a lot of people want, who just want to skip over that grind is like they just give you so many resources. Now, once again, with what she's talking about and what she's probably about to talk about is all the stuff that they're offering in a PowerPoint, which is basically the sugar and the honey that they try and throw at you, and basically like, oh, we offer all of this, but let's keep it a real stack. Let's be keeping it 100. Let's keep it 1,000,000 up in here. If that is not on paper, if all the stuff they are offering and whatever they're talking about, it doesn't matter what corporation it is, if you don't see it on that black and white, then all that yap in the beginning means nothing.
Shit, those receipts, girl, bro. Nah, I'm not gonna dox everyone who was in the call at that time. But I do need a mental refresher real quick. Hold up. Let me mute everything. They had this like beautifully crafted thing of like how Vshojo operates, first of all, how they're true to their values, the tech team, and all the strong finances. They were showcasing all the events they can do for me, online, offline, organization-based projects like project management, third-party support, blah blah blah. Online events such as debuts, coordinating with contractors, hype and marketing, media assets and whatnot. They have case studies on all the things they have been doing, such as the Minecraft server and what they're doing for that, IRL stuff and VIRL stuff, backpacking and whatnot. For which talents they did this for, what debut events they have been doing.
There's a lot of stuff, bro. Like
concerts offline.
Bro, I'm listening to all this, and if they had offered this to me years ago, especially being, you know, a new VTuber at that time, because before I had used my IRL self, obviously, with my camera and whatnot. But like when I was becoming a VTuber and I was making my own model and whatnot, and just getting into the space, I will say one thing right now. If I was offered all that, I would still be cautious, and that's just because how I am, because I already know that there's, I don't know, my mindset when it comes to a lot of things, and it might be self-sabotage in some cases, but my mindset is it's too good to be true. That means that it probably is. And not to mention, when it comes to contracts with my grandfather and grandmother, I've gone through plenty of contracts when it comes to buying a house, buying a car, all that shit. And I was there with them, obviously, because they raised me. It's like I kind of just learned that if it ain't on the black and white, then don't mean shit. Like it just point blank period. If it ain't on the black and white, all the yapping they do in the beginning to kind of butter you up doesn't mean anything. If it ain't on the paper, it don't mean shit. If it ain't on the paper, that basically is, we might do it. That's kind of what it is. But I mean, still, all like naming all that stuff off rip. If you're not thinking about all the other stuff, bro, that's a lot.
And events, online events, all the highlight videos they have for those online events.
That's a lot, man.
International relationship industry, public relations, finance, security, DMCA takedowns, copyright, escalation systems, interviews, blah blah blah. PR management, interviews, takedowns with like all kinds of teams that they work with, helping with commissioning, games, collabs, blah blah blah, support in voice acting, scheduling support, even lessons on like other stuff.
They were often in the sun, the moon, and the stars up in there, bro.
Merch production. And then we got to the point, and that was all beautiful. That was where everything. This is where everything is like, holy shit.
Like yeah, they're offering all that. That's a lot of stuff. That's a lot of stuff, and for somebody who's probably small, like a small VTuber or a small creator, that's a lot, man. And a lot of that stuff is hard to do on your own, especially if you're a VTuber, let alone just a single standalone YouTuber, bro. Like a lot of that stuff, some people would kill to be having some of that stuff done for them.
This
or just be offered.
Insane. Also, just as a context reminder, when Vshojo opened their applications, way before that, I applied. And I actually made it past the first wave, and then never heard anything back, ever. Never ever.
Damn.
So,
radio silent?
Needlessly to say, it was first of all, it was my long-lived dream to join Hololive. They didn't want me, or rather, never looked at my application or anything.
Damn.
Okay, this is before I did.
I mean, considering how Hololive is kind of going at the moment, it's probably a good thing, but yeah.
By the way, this is a long time ago. I wanted to join Hololive. Never heard back from them, or anything like it. So when I saw that the Vshojo girls had so much fun and they were such a tight-knit group and like collabs and hangouts, and they looked like the most beautiful people on planet to me. So I applied. Didn't make it very far. Made it like past the first or second, I don't remember. Past the first phase for sure. And then I just kind of got ghosted. They looked like beautiful. I was like, whoa, like my heart was like, I really wanted to be part of those girls. Like it was just perfection.
Bro, Shylily's model is fucking, Jesus Christ, I don't know how much money they put into that, but that's like expressive as hell. Like you guys peeped the whole thing where like she made the whole emotions and then like the sparkle in the eyes popped up. That's hella cool. I'm not gonna lie. That's cool as hell.
I was like, dude, I fit right
I need, I
in.
need, I need to figure out if I can get some way to rig my model because I'm technically still using like a, I'm still using a Vroid Studio model, bro. we out here, we out here balling, bro, with the Vroid Studio model, bro. I'm glad they have it though, because without it, man, I don't know if I'd be able to be a VTuber today or not, bro. Because I'm gonna be real, that was the only way I was gonna be able to do it. I'm glad it's there though. I'm glad it's there.
And yeah, then far later, eventually at some point, they reached out at the almost peak of my career, and they were trying to hire me. So they were giving me this whole presentation of what they can do for me, which was great and all. But then we came to a list of things that are very important to me. I can run down the list super quick. It should be
Gotta have
easy
the
to.
it's you gotta have that list of things that we gotta establish, bro. Because if you don't, like, my grandfather said it best. If you don't stand for something, you'll stand for anything.
Fine, I don't have the list saved anyway, but I know who I send it to. So if you give me a hot moment, I can find the list. Because I have a list of like non-negotiable values. I
Gotta stand on business.
entirely, without a doubt,
Gotta stand
non-negotiable.
on business, bro.
Absolutely not. Okay, this is a big ass list. I also noted some red flags that I noticed right away. But
bro, I swear, if one of those red flags that I'm talking about,
are,
you know what? Actually, I'm curious. I'm curious.
At this stage of the contract, when I call them,
I'm curious because there are certain red flags that when you sign on with a company or just go looking for a job in general, there are just certain things that sometimes the hiring people will say that will just be like, yeah, nah, we good. And y'all know what I'm talking about, y'all. Y'all know what I'm talking about. It'd be like the ones where they be talking about, here we are a family. That means, yeah, now you leave. Unless you have no choice and you need the job that bad, get out of there, bro. Get out of there. We like a family here? Okay. How many times we heard that before? How many times we heard that before? I'm curious to see what these VTuber agencies, because I bet they got their own shit going on here, bro. I bet.
Red flags. It is more so. I've been dealing with contracts for a while at this point in my career. Lots of contracts are, I hate this word so much, standard contracts. So things you can negotiate. You can negotiate, right? My biggest contract was the revenue share. I did not like how their revenue splits with merchandise and similar things. I'm not gonna go through the whole list like in detail. It is literally like a 2-page fucking doc, bro. But they wanted too much revenue share. Way too much. Like, that was absolutely...
I'm not surprised. That's why you gotta read everything, bro. Because bro, if there's one thing you gotta learn, it doesn't matter what corporation you're joining, bro. A VTuber agency, anything. These corporations' one and only priority is to make money. Meaning they will, if they can, they will cheap shot you. If they can, they will cheap shot you, bro. Because they want somebody who can do the most amount of work without them having to pay the most amount of money. It's the reason why you'll see, and this might be a hot take, but it's the reason why you'll have some corporations where they'll hire illegal immigrants into their country rather than hire their own citizens. Because why would you bother hiring your own citizens where you got to pay them a lot for them to do the same job that an illegal immigrant can do, but you just pay the illegal immigrant less and get the same amount of money. Like, it's just one of them things, bro. These corporations, bro, you can't trust them. They will cheap shot you. Like, kid, like, they may offer all this cool stuff, but at the end of the day, these guys are not your friends. They are here for one and one reason only, is to make money.
Not it. And the money they offered me in exchange for taking this much of my revenue was just not even that was an insult. It was an insult. The money they said they would provide me with each month for stuff like concerts, models, air assets, commissions, whatever, it was an insult. With how much they take, it's an insult. I also didn't like how they kept calling 50-50 splits that was a genuine red flag, because they kept calling 50-50 splits the what was the word? Industry standard. Any corporate hires you and always puts emphasis.
Industry standard, aka we're gonna screw you over. industry standard, man. Oh my god. Here we go. Here we go.
An industry
I already know where this is going.
Run.
I already know where this is going, bro.
First of all, 50-50 is not the industry standard. It is not. Absolutely not. No. It should be much closer to, you know, and like some people get it as low as 20%, 15 or 10. 50-50 is abysmal. Also, third-party deals was also the biggest red flag. They wanted 5% on third-party deals.
Which is insane.
I wanted them to...
That's insane. Because for anybody who doesn't know, what third-party deals means is basically shit outside of the company. So let's say you're working for a company, right? Like, I guess in this case, Vshojo, you're doing content for them and whatnot. But then you have your own outside thing that you do completely on your own. Nothing having to do with them. That should be only yours and yours alone. And for some reason, apparently, I guess in her case, I guess she's about to explain it, they wanted 5% of whatever the hell she was doing on the side that had nothing to do with them. That's not some cockazoo type. That's like some cockazoo type of greed, bro. Holy.
Negotiated down to 0. If you don't know what third-party deals are, third-party deals is stuff that they have nothing to do with. It's me doing stuff. Mine. If Mythic brings me an offer, they want 5% on top of Mythic's. Like, what? Nah, so I was like, negotiate this down to 0.
That's like a whole cockazoo type deal right there, bro. He want money.
Like at first, I also told them, stay the fuck away from gamer subs. Stay the fuck away. Literally, stay the fuck away. And at first, they were like, sure, fair. But then they tried to be dodgy about it, and they were like, for the time being, yes.
Oh my god. You love to see it, man. You love to see it. For the time being, aka, we're gonna, for the time being, meaning that we're still gonna take that money. We're still gonna take that, bro. Holy shit.
Until we renegotiate the contract.
There is no renegotiation, bro.
No, stay the fuck away. No renegotiation. And
bro, Shylily out here crashing out like Yuya did in freaking Yu-Gi-Oh! Arc V, talking about some. For anybody who watched that one Yu-Gi-Oh! Episode where Yuya and Yuto were crashing out, and he summoned the raging eyes. He summoned raging odd eyes dragon. And then the two girls are talking about you can only take out one of us right now, and I'll still have my other partner have another turn. And then Yuya coming out of the works talk about there is no next turn. that is literally this right now. Holy shit. Yeah, that's crazy.
The excuse for this was as part of Vshojo, and
they really wanted that money, bro.
Part of the income and opportunities that come my way are due to Vshojo in my name. And I said, no, all of these things are stuff I did myself. You don't touch it. So yeah, the biggest red flags were, one of them was they refused to go down to 0% third-party deal fees. Again, third-party means Mythic gets me a sponsor. And
that's
Vshojo
crazy,
isn't
bro.
touching it. I get myself something. I don't want Vshojo to fucking touch it. And
like they really wanted everything?
Couldn't let go of that.
That's a whole new level of greed, bro. That's a whole new level of greed right there. Like, bro, I'm gonna be real. I don't think Kakuzu from Naruto could be that greedy. I know I was mentioning Kakuzu before, but I don't even think he was that greedy, bro. Like, damn. No, maybe he was, because he got his money from being that one dude, and then he came back for Asuma, bro. So, I don't know, maybe he is that greedy, but damn.
Just couldn't. I said if you have involvement, I said if you're involved in any of these and help out, you can have maximum 5% based on involvement. But if there's no involvement, it's 0, and they refused. Another, probably the by far biggest red flag.
Wild.
I say this now, but maybe later on I will get
wild.
Something else. The by far biggest red flag. The two, sorry, that kind of intertwined. The by far biggest red flag was I asked them to sign a non-compete based on gut feeling and hunches I may have had from rumors that have made their rounds, I asked them to sign a non-compete between them and Mythic. Let me explain what this means. A non-compete means that if Mythic gives me sponsors. So what Mythic is, so Mythic
I just realized
Talents,
this, but she has
I'm
like a
part of
shrimp
Mythic
on top of
Talents,
her
which
head.
is the same as UTA in other places.
That's wholesome.
They give you sponsors. Vshojo's talents have also been part of mostly UTA. Long story short, what they do is they read my inbox, they pass on the sponsors, they negotiate sponsors for me. They give me sponsors. I ask Vshojo to sign, to add or sign a non-compete clause in the contract. What are sponsors? It's when a game pays you to play the game.
Yeah.
So I was like, sign a non-compete, because if Mythic gives me a sponsor, let's just keep math really simple, right? If Mythic gives me a sponsor and says they'll pay you $100 if you play this game for an hour, I don't want Vshojo to be legally able to go behind my back and contact the sponsor and say, she'll do it for 80, just so Vshojo will then give the sponsor to me and they will be able to take the cut.
So for anybody who didn't understand what, well, I mean, she explained it pretty well, but for anybody who didn't understand, she's basically trying to keep it to where I think I'm about to repeat something here, but basically she's trying to keep it to where she gets a sponsor to play a game and she's supposed to get paid for that by that sponsor. The contract and what she wants put in there is basically making it to where Vshojo can't turn around while she's not paying attention and be like, she'll do it for a less amount of money, but we're going to be ones who give her the contract so that we get a piece of it. So instead of her getting all the money that she would have gotten from that, sponsor, then what ended up happening is Vshojo, if they did go and do that, they would get a piece of it and she wouldn't get her full amount of money. That's basically in a nutshell. Like, basically, she's trying to block Vshojo from being greedy as fuck.
I want them to sign a non-compete so they can't do that. So Vshojo can't go to the sponsor and be like, no, she'll do it for this much, just so they can give me the sponsor and they get their cut. I don't want that. Mythic got me the sponsor first. I want you to sign a non-compete that you can't fuck over me and or Mythic. I want a non-compete. Very standard thing. Very standard thing. They didn't want to sign that. They said...
Why am I not surprised? I was going to say, let me guess, they didn't want to sign that either, did you? Jesus Christ. This amount of agree making Grinch and fucking... The Grinch and Kakazu need to take notes, because this is a whole new... This is like a God of Destruction kind of greed that we're looking at here.
Brought this up. I have proof of everything, by the way, and before anyone tries to pull some weird sneaky shit or Vshojo tries some weird sneaky shit, I have proof of everything. I have proof of everything, okay? Everything.
Got receipts,
the whole 2
bro.
hours of the first one and whatever of the...
Which is smart, bro. Whenever you're doing a contract with anybody when it comes to these corporations, bro, you need to record something, bro. You need to have something so that when this shit goes down, if something goes down, whether it be now or in the future, you can't get fucked over because you have the receipts.
Of the next following meetings. I prove everything. Anyways, I got all the receipts. Hours of receipts. Anyways, they then tried to argue when I asked about the non-compete. They were like, hey, we operate on a trust basis. And I was like...
AKA, we operate on a we might do what we tell you we're going to do. That's what a trust base means, basically. For anybody who's not in or hasn't dealt with any corporations or contracts or anything like that, doesn't know anything about that. What operating on a trust base means that we're going to operate on the fact that we say we're going to do what we're going to do, but unless it's in that black and white, we're probably not going to do it. That's what that means. The only thing that you need to trust is whatever the fuck is on that black and white paper. So if it ain't on there and they say they're going to do it, then you need to tell them whatever it is that they said they're going to offer, it needs to be on that paper. Otherwise, I ain't signing. We operate on a trust base. Yeah, we operate on some bullshit over here. Put that shit on the paper or I ain't signing.
Don't give a shit. Don't care. It's a contract. There is no trust in a contract. There is no trust basis. I know
Facts.
people like there is no trust. There is no we don't operate on jack
Damn,
shit
she crashing
except
out.
for the black on fucking white on this fucking contract. Trust basis.
She's a trust basis, my ass.
The second red flag was in this beautiful first interview where the very beautiful person in the very beginning, they presented everything of what Vshojo can and will do for me. I asked straight up because the contract had none of that in there.
Oh, what? What did I say? Remember when I was talking about in the beginning of this video how usually when it comes to these corporations talking about what they can offer you, that all the yap means nothing until it's on that paper? Yeah, that's what I meant. Because from what I just heard, basically what I heard is all that stuff that she was talking about that they were going to offer her in the beginning when she, when they were talking about what they can do, what they can offer her if she has to join Vshojo. None of that shit's on the damn paper according to what she just said right here. This is why I say, words don't mean shit. If it ain't on that black and white, it needs, man.
Not one thing, except for the parts I want money off, not one of those things was part of it. The only thing part of it was the money they offer me a year and something else. I forgot about what it was. But
basically the stuff that they have to give to her. The legal shit that they have no choice to give to her. But all the other shit that they said they could offer, they didn't put it on that paper. Jesus Christ.
2 things. But there was just, again, transactional money things that they had to put in there.
Yep. The shit that they have no choice to put in there.
Not one thing that they offer me as a service was in there. So I simply asked, put them in a contract. Everything you offer, put it in a contract. Needlessly to say, that part never happened.
Okay, why am I not surprised? Shit. Why am I not surprised? This is why I say that all that fancy wording and all that shit that they put towards you in the beginning, it doesn't mean anything. I haven't dealt with it myself personally, but I have once again my grandparents when they're buying a house, buying a car. My aunt is an accountant. She has to be like, bro, she knows everything about contracts and shit, bro. She's a whole accountant. When I say, man, if it ain't on that black and white, it don't matter. If it ain't on that black and white, it don't matter. It don't matter what they tell you. It doesn't matter what they tell you. If it's not on that black and white, it does not mean anything.
And that is literally...
They can say, we'll give you a fucking dual disc. We'll give you a Star Destroyer. We'll give you a fucking Jedi Starfighter. We'll give you a lightsaber. We'll give you all this. But if it ain't on that contract, if it ain't in that black and white print, saying specifically that when you join us, we are basically honor bound to give you that, then it's done. If it ain't there, it means that they ain't giving it to you. More likely than not. That's why you gotta read everything.
Making a deal with the fucking devil, because if all of these things are things you promise, there is absolutely no reason to not have them in a contract.
I told you, I said it in the beginning, they want to get you to do the most amount of work while they give the least amount of effort. That's how corporations operate, and they will fuck you. They will screw you if you don't read everything.
These are things you promise.
Get a lawyer, man, whenever you're dealing with these corporations, bro. Get a lawyer.
That's your whole selling point. But when I ask you to put it on paper in the contract that you want me to sign, you refuse. No. No. The only thing, apart from all the negative, the only thing that was positive in this whole thing was when I asked Vshojo if I can reach out to the other talents, because they're trying to hire me. They're trying to make me sign with the company. I said I want to reach out to the other girls and make sure they want me there. First of all, I want to make sure they're aware I'm being recruited. Second of all, I want to make sure they want me there because one part of my list of demands was I refuse to do fake shit.
Hey, that's fair. If you're going to be part of an organization, you want to make sure that if you're going to be hanging around other people, especially been together for a while, that especially in a situation like this, you want to make sure that you are welcomed and that they know you're going to be there. Because I think there was some situations sometimes in Hololive or Niji Sanji. I think there's a situation where sometimes they'll onboard a new VTuber and then they don't even tell the other VTubers that are part of that agency that they even exist. Like they don't say shit. So, good on her for wanting to make sure that she doesn't have to be fake around people that don't know her, because not everybody mashes well together. Keep that in mind. Not everybody mashes well together. So making sure ahead of time that if you are going to join an agency, the people that you're going to be working with are actually going to want you to be there, and you're not going to have to be fake around them or anything like that. It's a good thing, because not everybody can put on a mask forever. And it honestly takes some. Like you can do it for a while, but everybody's tolerance is different, and eventually, one way or another, you're gonna break down. You're gonna break down. You can't be fake forever. You gotta be yourself eventually. You gotta be yourself eventually. So good on her for doing that.
One, that the girls want me there, and they did not tell me to not do that. So that was the only thing that I can be like, okay, cool. That's the only thing where they were like, you may reach out to the other parts of Vshojo. Okay, cool. So that was the only good thing that was part of the contract or contract negotiation. They were fine with me reaching out to the other girls. And I did. And I did. Yeah, and I did. And after all of that, I decided to not join. I decided if they...
I dodged the bullet. I'm not gonna lie. From what I'm hearing right now, you were about to get screwed no how. You were about to get screwed no how. She dodged a huge bullet. No, I'm good.
Can put what I want in there? No. And the reason I call this legal robbery is, again, now that you have a bit more contact. Also, they wanted me to have quality payouts. I suggested that's bad. I don't want that. It makes it difficult to track stuff, and human error can persist during these. I don't want that. Which, that isn't necessarily the biggest red flag. It's just like it leaves room for error that can be left unaccounted because it's difficult to keep track of these things. So, yeah. I noted down that there's nothing malicious with this, but if they take longer than 4 months to get a sponsor page to show up in the books, nothing malicious, but it leaves room for unnoticed error because who the heck keeps track of every sponsor payout from over 4 months ago? We negotiated this to be closer to the industry standard payout length. Yeah. I also wanted to negotiate that any concept they help with, any lore, whatever the fuck, is 100% owned by Vshojo. I wanted to negotiate the splits on projects that Vshojo is only a partial owner of these things.
Yeah, it makes sense. Especially if you're both doing it. It only makes sense that you can, be partially an owner of it if you're taking place in making the lore. Makes sense.
Of these things, it's all belonging to me. They don't own any of this. They wanted 100% ownership of everything they help. I didn't like that. What else? I also wanted to argue that Vshojo cannot take down whatever they want. If I make a tweet and Vshojo doesn't like it, they have the right to ask me to take it down. I have I believe it was 1 week, but I'm not sure. But I wanted them to have a clause in the contract that basically makes it, you can ask me to take it down, but you can't force me. So
See, this is fair, but I understand sometimes when they want certain VTubers to take down their stuff, because at the end of the day, you are technically representing them. So, like, let's say you say some out of pocket shit, because it happens. Sometimes, like, they want to make sure that their reputation isn't tainted, because you already know how the hive mind works, especially on places like Twitter. One person says one thing, and then, if you're like part of a corporation or whatnot, then everybody else is just guilty by association. They'll pull that whole nonsense where it's like, oh, somebody said something about this. I guess this company is fine with that. You guys know the drill. So I understand why, but at the same time, it's kind of censorship if they can kind of tell you what you cannot post.
if I don't want it, if I don't want to take it down, you simply have to get rid of my contract. I don't like how they can force me to take something down, and I have to comply within, I think it was a week. I'm not 100% sure on that one. I have to actually check the actual contract. This is just my personal notes I'm looking through. But I didn't like that, so I wanted them to add that. I want to make sure they can't abuse this. So I wanted to negotiate this stuff that if I that I have a week to comply, and if I refuse to take it down, they can terminate my contract instead.
I mean, that's fair.
I wanted to do. I also wanted an edit.
That is fair. That is fair. Because at that point, then it's like, okay, If they really wanted you to take that down, then they just terminate your contract and they'd be like, hey, that's all good. But if it ain't really that big of a deal, then hey, it stays up. That's fair.
Editing team for YouTube relevance because they promise marketing and all kinds of other things. So I said I want an editing team and I want a base amount of things they do for YouTube, and I want to make sure they have a minimum effort a week that they have to reach for YouTube exposure and YouTube stuff. They didn't want to do that either.
That's crazy, because wasn't that one of the things that they were mentioning they were going to help with? Is that they were going to help with the video processes and whatnot with editing? That's crazy that they weren't even going to actually do that. And for anybody who is a YouTuber or is aspiring to be a YouTuber or even a VTuber, it takes a lot to edit it, your own videos. It takes a lot of time, especially depending on how long the videos, and especially if you want to get really creative with it and make it really good for YouTube standards. Like, don't be just lazy with it. Like, it takes a lot. Like, people in general just don't understand that as easy as it looks like for people to be doing YouTube, like, it might just look like you're sitting down and talking to a camera or talking, which is hard enough for some people. Like, some people are really camera shy. But like, you got to make the video, you got to edit the video, you got to do, like, there's so much shit that goes into making YouTube videos. There really is. It might sound like it's easy, but there's a lot that goes into it. There's a lot, and it takes a lot of energy too. This ain't like some easy thing to do, especially considering you're not making money off the rip. Even somebody like me, I've hit 1K recently, you know, and I'm still like, while I am making money right now, it's not a lot. Like, you don't make a lot of money off of YouTube off rip, and you're just making thousands upon thousands of videos for just like, you're basically doing it for free. You're basically providing free entertainment for a long period of time until you actually start making that kind of money. So it's like, there's a process to it, man. There really is.
The no conflict of interest negotiation, the do not compete, hasn't been signed. There was no termination clause in the contract at all whatsoever, which means that I would have to go the full 2 years. I wanted them, let me just check. Yeah, I wanted so that when the contract renews, they have to inform me, and if I don't provide my signature for the contract renewal, the contract doesn't renew.
Which is smart, because then that means that they can't just auto renew the contract if she doesn't want to stay. That's really smart, because let's say they do something dumb or something horrendous, and then she wants to leave, but then they auto renew the contract, then she's kind of cooked. So that's smart.
I want them to terminate the contract if I don't renew. And I also, another reason, the exit clause, I mainly wrote this down. Sorry, I have to catch up on like my notes. I wrote this down because all of the things they offer, if they do not offer them, again, everything they promised, if they end up not fulfilling their end of the contract, I basically have my exit clause.
Yeah.
So,
which makes sense, because they offered you all this stuff. Another reason why it needs to be put on black and white and not just some hearsay nonsense. But it's another reason why I say that if you get it in black and white, then you need to get it in black and white, because otherwise they don't have an obligation to give it to you. And in the case of what she's talking about with the exit clause, what she's basically doing is being smart and saying that if you don't offer the stuff that you say you're going to offer me, and especially if it's in the contract, and you don't offer it to me, then that means I get to leave. No ifs, no strings tied, no nothing. She's playing it really smart, because once again, corporations could get away with some crazy stuff, bro. They can get away with some crazy stuff if you don't be reading these contracts, bro.
I don't even necessarily need them to have an exit clause, but I need them to have those things in there, because if they don't comply, I can dip. That's another reason as to why I want those things in there, because that basically becomes my exit clause. If I, for example, tell them, hey, if I have a problem with this, you have to help me. Hey, do not compete. Hey, do not do this, this, and this. And I don't do those things, I can leave. We successfully negotiated, just to also have some positive things, we successfully negotiated security and safety issues. We successfully negotiated project management, such as...
So what I'm hearing here is basically they were able to negotiate the shit that they basically had to give her. Like, no matter what. Like, this is the legal shit that you have to give to your talents. But all the other stuff, then they were kind of like, iffy on, which is crazy. for a company that says that they're, because I'm pretty sure I don't know if this is a slogan or what, but I'm pretty sure Vshojo was one of them companies that said, yeah, they're like one of those ones that talk about, oh, we are, I guess, talent first, or what if you had to take it out of the VTuber space to be like, oh, we're employee first. In reality, they're not.
There's lore videos, podcasts, VTuber animes, game shows, 3D shows, D&D streams, 3D space technical expansion, and stuff like this. We successfully negotiated terms on operational marketing and everything tied to it.
There's one thing I'll say about this. Is I'm learning a lot about how these VTuber, or at least Vshojo, I'm learning a lot how these VTuber agencies kind of operate. At least with Vshojo, I don't know about Niji Sanji and Hololive, but this is giving me some really good insight.
I negotiated this because Vshojo had a presentation when recruiting me for the first time, stating a bunch of services they promised to provide, to sell, the idea of Vshojo, but none of them were part of the contract, so we listed the most important ones in the contract to reflect that. But they didn't want to add all of these things in there.
Which I'm not surprised. They didn't even add in all the stuff they were yapping about in the PowerPoint presentation, so why would I be surprised that they're not adding the other stuff that she wants? Crazy work, bro. Crazy work. Once again, the Grinch and Kakuzu need to take notes, because once again, this is a whole new level of greed that we're witnessing right here. For real. Like, I knew corporations were always greedy. That's nothing new. Like, we all knew this, but this is a whole new level. This is a whole new level,
bro.
They
said they would add them in there, but in the actual negotiation with the actual contract, it ain't still there, bro. Ended up not being
ain't there, bro.
So, only partially. Yeah, the payouts wasn't a red flag. It was just questionable because I wanted to be more industry standard based. Let me just see. Sorry, this is a long note. Oh yeah, there was one thing that we agreed on, because there was a clause in the contract that they own all my material basically indefinitely, which sounds fucked up. But their reasoning, and I understand, is if I'm part of Vshojo and they have a music video of mine up, for example, and I terminate my contract, they would have to take it down too, because I no longer own my IP, because I own my own IP. But
well, see, here's the thing. I don't know. Maybe this is just me. I feel like that because that's one of the big reasons why I didn't join one of these VTuber agencies early on. So I heard about the whole agency thing, about how they basically own everything you create, which is fine up to an extent, though. I think. See, here's the thing. I understand why they do that, because obviously she was just talking about right there, like, let's say you end up terminating your contract and leaving, then they gotta take all those videos down. Not really, though, because it technically still belongs to you, because all the stuff that I did under your name. So technically it does belong to you, because I didn't do it before or after I left. So I don't know. Maybe that's just me. Maybe I'm missing something, but I feel like that they don't gotta take down all that stuff if they don't want to, unless something really crazy happens. Like, if you just terminate your contract and kind of just say, I'm moving on, then why would you need to delete the videos at that point? It doesn't make any sense to me.
But I think successfully, in my notes, it's marked as successful, but the problem is those notes are before we negotiated the contract on paper. This were verbal negotiations where they just said, like, yeah, too. But I basically said that stuff that I created and uploaded while being part of Vshojo can stay up.
Yeah.
But you don't own any of my whatever forever.
Yeah. That makes sense. It's like one of them things where, like, I get to keep my stuff that I made, but all the content that I make for you, you get to keep it. That sounds fair to me. That sounds fair. I'm not gonna lie.
So I wanted this clause to be more specific in the contract, that I understand what they try to do. They don't want to get fucked over by tenants leaving and then having to delete their existence from everything. All the merch, all the videos, all the music stuff ever created, all the concerts, all the commentary, everything ever created. They can't go through all of this every time a tenant leaves and delete everything. But I wanted them to reflect that this will only ever reflect stuff
that is made when you're made with Vshojo.
As part of Vshojo.
Yeah.
Nothing before, nothing after, nothing following. I don't have a business degree. I just have a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful lawyer who may or may not have dealt with contracts of a...
Bro, getting a good lawyer when it comes to these shady companies is just gotta be the top 10 best things you can do for real, bro. Like, top 10. Like, I mean, whenever you're dealing with, like, anything having to deal with money, corporations, anything, bro. Just getting a really good lawyer that knows this kind of shit. Godsend.
It may have been suspiciously enough a very similar contract. So this wasn't the first rodeo. I just have a great, amazing lawyer. I love him so much. But yeah, and then I asked him to knock out of all of the third-party stuff out of the contract, which in my notes I marked as resolved and successfully negotiated. But again, once we actually did get to the contracting phase,
yeah, they said no
with
on that.
their lawyer, who was very unprofessional, by the way, because she was constantly just zoning out. She constantly didn't know where the fuck we were. Every time we needed her to reply to something, she was always doing like the, can you repeat that for me?
Damn. She over there doing the whole blank stare where she's kind of just saying yeah to everything, kind of half listening, half asleep probably. And then you ask them, so did you get all that? And then they wake up and they're like, oh, can you repeat that all for me? And it's like, oh my god.
Can we go over this again? I'm like, bitch, you're not paying, you ain't paying attention. Holy shit, you're not paying any attention. You're literally zoned the fuck out anyways.
Damn.
So that was just frustrating.
Damn,
so I was like,
bro.
you're supposed to be my lawyer when I'm joining? Ugh. I also didn't like her condescending tone whenever she spoke about industry standards and making me and my lawyer feel like the people who don't know what we're talking about when we are the actual golden standard of industry standards. We did not ask in anything something that isn't industry standard. We literally I just was so excited to join the girls, and we literally only did everything super industry standard. But they're the ones who always claim that all of their cuts and everything is industry standard. Also, another thing with everything that's bad, I would like to note, Vshojo does not take a cut of your Twitch dashboard. At least that's what I've been assured. All of the cuts they take is money from sponsors, third-party deals, merch, blah, blah, blah. But like I said,
which is still bad, by the way. Like, the third-party sponsors especially. Like, the third-party stuff that does nothing to do with Vshojo, I don't know why they're trying to claim that. That shit is wild to me.
As a year-long successful indie, I wanted them to stay away from all third-party shit they have nothing to do with. And they just couldn't comply with that. So, yeah. And now to the people who still go like, why didn't you avoid? Shut the fuck up, bro. If you have nothing to lose, if you have nothing and they want something of everything, they ain't getting shit anyways. For someone who has nothing, this contract isn't even that exploitatory.
That is true. This contract is only really an exploit to people who have like already a lot to lose. To somebody who has nothing, they're not really losing anything, which is why you don't really see them sometimes when it comes to, getting VTuber talent. They don't really go after people who don't have really that much to lose. Like, it might sound bad, but it's true. There's a reason why, they do take in consideration your following before you end up joining any of these VTuber agencies. They want to see if you already have an audience or if you're already kind of like marketable. Holy crap, I can't talk right now. So that, if they do decide to hire you, then boom, they know that they're going to have something there, which is why, a lot of the time when it comes to these contracts and whatnot, it may look like it's a lot of exploits, but it's only a lot of exploits to people who have something to lose. To somebody who has nothing to lose, like probably like somebody like me, where I'm still small and everything like that, the contract, while still really terrible, I might add, it wouldn't affect me as much as it would affect somebody like, I guess Shylily in this case, who has a lot more to lose here. And it also depends on how much you're willing to tolerate, because for, once again, some people, that contract is perfect. For some people, that contract is perfect, and every contract is different. So, for those people who might try and go out of their way and say, well, why didn't Shylily warn everybody else about all the shady stuff going on? It's because, for one thing, that's defamation. Second of all, everybody's contract is different. And third of all, for some people, that contract that she got might be fine for somebody else, but not good for her. So you can't really go there.
It still has some icky stuff in there, but like, if you've got nothing, You can use this as an opportunity to grow yourself into something over the next 2 years. You can use it as an opportunity to grow still. It's not bad for everyone, but it is absolute daylight robbery for people who are independent. Yes.
Yep.
When did I ask?
For people who are successful and independent, it's definitely a robbery. This contract is some dog water, bro. Dog water. But for somebody who has nothing, they're just applying. Maybe just a small VTuber on Twitter, haven't really debuted or anything like that, and they're kind of just trying to get their name out there. This could be their shot to get their name out there, which is why somebody made a comment in my comment section talking about how this might not be the end of VTuber agencies because some people don't got anything to lose and they might still sign up to these VTuber agencies regardless of the fact that they see all the drama around these VTuber agencies and how they're screwing their talents over. For some people, they don't care about that. They just care about getting their name out there, and that's just one way to do it. It's a fast way to do it too. Shit. It's a fast way to do it too. You get an instant audience, you get put in the YouTube algorithm immediately, so you don't gotta worry about that anymore. There's just a lot of stuff that, even if they do screw you over, if you're somebody who has nothing, there's not really that they can really screw you over on. Because you didn't have anything for them to screw you over with in the first place. Still really bad though, especially with Vshojo screwing over a charity, not to mention not paying the creators for 6 months. That's still terrible. But if we're just talking about in general, for people who have nothing to lose, it ain't that bad. It's one of those things where you kind of just got to think about it. That's like a moral thing than anything at that point. It's kind of like, okay, there's no way I'm going to associate myself with a company who's out here scamming charities and not paying their creators. That's kind of like the moral thing. Some people will look past it, though. It just all depends on what you're willing to tolerate.
2023 second half during summer-ish. Yeah. Like that deal is entire. Keep in mind, that contract had none of the things they promised. They said they
which is insane.
The entire first over 2 hours sit down.
That whole PowerPoint is just a whole lot of nothing.
What Vshojo is and how they can help a talent and their value to the talent. None of this was in the contract. Almost none.
Once again, the only stuff that was probably in that contract was the stuff that they had to put in there. But everything else that they were yapping about how they can help with certain things, this, that, and the third, they didn't put that shit in. They didn't put that. Once again, all that 2-hour yap of PowerPoint presentation that they were talking about before, once again, if it ain't in that black and white writing where you got to sign your name and everything like that, if it's not in there, it doesn't mean anything, bro. It's basically a bunch of yap.
2 things I'd wear, but those things, it's mostly because they have to.
It's like the military, for example. I'm in the military. If it ain't on that, like when you sign up for the military, whatever they offer you, it has to be in that contract, or they don't have to guarantee anything. It's like that's how these contracts work, bro. If it ain't on the black and white, you ain't getting it, or they don't have to give it to you. If they do give it to you, then just be happy that they gave it to you. But if they don't, then you can't say much because it's not in that contract. You didn't make sure it was either.
Because it's, once again, about their assets. I want to make sure I don't get more assets than I can ask for. So that's probably why it's in there. So none of that was in the contract. That says a lot. So yeah, also to other people who say that the contract is the best they've ever gotten, doesn't have to be wrong. It doesn't have to be wrong. Also, some people don't have such an amazing lawyer as I have.
That is true.
Some people may look at the contract considering the PowerPoint presentation they have probably also received in the beginning. And they are like, this is fantastic, without realizing that this entire presentation doesn't exist in the actual contract.
Just smoke and mirrors, bro. Smoke and mirrors. And some people will fall for it. Once again, that's why I say when it comes to dealing with any corporation, whether it be money or anything like this, lawyer the fuck up, bro. Lawyer the fuck up, bro. Or at least if you have somebody in your if you have somebody in your family who understands contracts, bring them in there, bro. Because these corporations will screw you at any chance they get. The only thing they care about is how much money you can make for them, not how much money they're going to give to you.
People don't even have a fucking lawyer. They only look at the PowerPoint and they're like, this is amazing. Plus, who is to say they all got the same contract? Plus, who is to say I didn't help anyone else? The lawyer that I pay for, remember? My lawyer, the lawyer I pay for? I gave all of those notes for free to everyone, including my personal notes and all of the red lines.
Which is fucking insane, not gonna lie. That's not insane in a bad way, but that's like insane in a good way because that means that for people who want to like join Vshojo, if they wanted to see kind of what the contract could possibly look like, Shylily basically gave them the blueprint, kind of like this is what they gave me, and this is what my lawyer discovered. So take and do what you will with it, kind of thing. It's crazy. It's a positive thing because she didn't have to do that.
Everyone who asked, because it didn't make me sign an NDA. Nothing. They made me sign nothing that doesn't give me the right to do so. So
yeah, and if there's no NDA, then that means you get to yeah. If there's no NDA, that's another thing that's important. If there's no NDA, then boom. If there is an NDA, she couldn't have done that.
and before you try and somehow once again go on some weird fucking hate train because you want to dick ride my fucking hate train so bad because you're so desperate to find something wrong with me, fuck you. Try always making shit up when there's nothing to make up about.
Damn.
If
Okay, she's on crash out mode right now. She's on crash out mode right now.
Handstands all day long because this is the only fucking way I can explain so much shit's coming out the upper end. Holy fuck.
She crashing out right now, bro. Tell him though.
Some people are so mentally goddamn deranged. Making shit up about drama and how I hate people who join Vshojo because I didn't warn them. Like, what the fuck kind of schizo bullshit is that? Brother, if they happy, they happy. You know how—
Yeah, once again, that's another thing. Is you can lead a horse to water, but you can't tell it to drink. Like, even if Shylily did go out and warn people about what's going on with that, first of all, that'd be defamation kind of to a degree because every contract's going to be different. But not to mention the fact that some people are fine with it. Some people are fine with it. Like, it is what it is. I give people shit. How many of y'all in the comment section are probably giving out advice to friends, whether it be relationships or other stuff, and you can see something fishy's going on, and you tell them not to do it, and they do it anyway. There's nothing you can do at that point except for be there when it all crashes and burns, and then be like, okay, be there for them, but be like, hey, what did we learn? That's all you can do. Because some people are willing to take that chance. Some people are like, hey, I see the risk, but I'm willing to go for it. I'm willing to do it. I'm willing to take it. Pause. But yeah, not much you can do after that.
how many friends I've actually actively warned to not do something and they went ahead and did it and I was just simply sitting there being happy for them. And then a year or two later when they're like, wah, wah, I'm simply there for them. Yep. I do hit them with a little bit of an
Yep. And you can rub it in a little bit, be like, hey, what did we learn? I told you so. But at the end of the day, you gotta just be there for them. That's all you can do. Especially if you're a friend of somebody, you warn them and all that shit. That's all you can do is be like, hey, yeah, what did I have? Now you know. Because some people, I guess, they just like sometimes some people just gotta go through the fire so they can learn not to get burned. That's a bar.
So, but mostly I'm there for them. I still poke fun at them, but I'm there for them. Sometimes you warn people like, hey, that girlfriend of yours is fucking toxic, don't do it, and they still date them. What do?
Yep. Oh my god, how many freaking times have I given out advice to my female friends when I was in high school and tell them to they be coming to me for advice, or even at work, be like, oh, I got they tell me what's going on, and I'm just like, hey, me personally, I wouldn't be with that person because they're really screwed over. And then they want to be talking about, and they be talking about something. Oh, I've given them like 7 tries and yada yada. I'm like, I can only tell you what to do. It's only up to you to implement what I'm telling you, bro. And then at the end of the day, we all know what happens. They go back to their toxic ex or whatever it may be, and then they get crushed again, and then it's like, oh, come back to me. And I'm like, okay, now what did we learn? I'm here for you, but what did we learn, man? What did we learn?
Do it like a good fucking friend that you are. Shut the fuck up. You hit him with a little tiny, I fucking told you she a bitch. But then you're simply there for when times are rough. Done. That's just how some people learn. Some people don't want to listen. Or they believe in all of the bullshit they're being fed down their throat of like all of the nice things they get to see and the good, too good to be true stuff. Also, a lot of people are very insecure and believe they can't make it without a corpo. Yeah,
that is true. Though to be honest, I feel like that insecurity is kind of fading a lot because I see a lot more indie VTubers now on YouTube and especially on TikTok who are kind of making their names known. Not huge, but they're kind of making their names known to a bigger audience now. They're not really. We're not in a day and age now where people are kind of like, okay, back like how it was in 2019, 2018, where it's like you gotta join a VTuber agency to get into, or it's gonna be extremely tough to actually get your name out there. We're kind of in a day and age now where, especially with VTuber being more acceptable, there's still hate for VTubers, obviously, but there's more love, I think, out there for VTubers, especially the newer ones with and the older ones. I feel there's a lot more love for VTubers now than there was back then. It's not as bad. It's like with anime. Anime back then, if you liked it, you had that small niche that liked it, and then you had everybody else who would hate on it. Versus now in the 2020s, where everybody and their mom is on that shit. It's a lot more popular now. So, it is what it is. It is what it is.
Or if you don't poke at least a little fun at them. Yeah, sometimes it's your job to just watch the fucking train wreck and just be there at the crash site. It's just how it is sometimes in life. Like, those fucking mentally deranged, absolute loser incels have to realize that if you've ever had friendships or values or any meaningful connections in your life, you would know that you can't always warn everyone. Some people will literally ignore your fucking warning and everything you know.
That's
and
facts.
against your better judgment, they have to make their own decisions. And to be a good friend, you simply have to be there for them when everything comes crashing down. But you wouldn't fucking know that because you've never formed a meaningful fucking relationship in your whole fucking life with your father
Damn, rap
walking out
god.
and your mom fucking neglecting your whole family, being
Damn.
basically no contract, and you just be in a
Damn.
fucking basement talking about VTubers and trying to shit talk them based on nothing and no information.
Damn, bro.
Anyways.
Top 10 rappers Eminem afraid to diss. Jesus Christ.
Anyways. Sorry, I had to be German for a second there. Anyways, that was the kind of worms I opened yesterday, and I just wanted to put down the facts a little bit of like why it was such a red flag contract, how it was absolutely disgusting, and how I didn't like their final meeting with their lawyer. It was very unprofessional. I did not enjoy the condescending matter of their lawyer.
Stood on business.
Lawyer. I did not enjoy the manipulation of what I'm supposed to believe is the industry standard. That was not nice. Them promising to not take anything of my assets that I've owned prior to Vshojo, just to backtrack and be like, yeah, there is no, stop, take your fucking greasy sticky fingers off of my assets and my money and
Facts.
be good. I just wanted to have a good time with the beautiful girls, man.
And see, that's the crazy thing, is that when it comes to VTubing in these corporations, the VTubers themselves, 9 times out of 10, they go into it with a positive mindset. At least majority of them. I know that there's some out there that could be just genuinely, whatever. But a lot of the times people go into it just trying to be making a positive impact on the world. But then you got these corporations that just fuck everything up for real. Every single time. And here we are with Vshojo, who was supposed to be the last bastion of hope. For the VTuber community, if you wanted to go to a corpo, because Nijisanji and Hololive are basically cooked. And I mean, yeah, well, here we are, man. Here we are. But hey, great video. I don't watch a lot of Shylily, but I got a lot of insight. I got a lot of insight on how kind of like these VTuber contracts operate, even though at this point it's whatever now. It's like it's one of them things where it's kind of just a whatever thing. There's no way in hell I'm joining an agency now after all the nonsense between Nijisanji, Vshojo, and all that shit. But between all that, they're basically cooked. But yeah, it's a lot, man. It's a lot. And once again, it just goes to show, once again, like I said in the beginning, that with these companies, with these corporations, the only thing they care about is making money, man. It's the only thing they care about is making money. And they will try and screw you over to do it too. They will. But other than that, that's all I gotta say. That's pretty much it. This video is probably long as hell right now. Hold on, like an hour long. Holy shit. Hour-long video out of 30 minutes. But yeah. That's pretty much it. I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.